sheltered. All the wealth, all the riches, everything you could imagine. 29, he snuck out in the middle of the night. He saw what's called the four sights. He saw sickness, he saw aging, he saw death, and he saw an ascetic, kind of a simple nun or monk, right? A very peaceful person. And he said to his buddy, Chana, he said, what is this? Aging and death. I don't understand. Does this happen to everyone? And Chana said, yes. Well, they sheltered him because they knew it was predicted when he was born that he would either be a great king or a very compassionate being. And his father said, no, I want him to be a king. So they sheltered him. They didn't let him see aging, sickness, death, or anything. 29, he sneaks out. He sees these four things. And he says, in essence, how can I live the rest of my life when there's a world out there of people that suffer? So he snuck out, spent 6 years roaming the base of the Himalayan mountains, picking up different teachers, practices, things like that. At 35, he sits down, and I'll come back to this in a minute. At 35, he sits down under the Bodhi tree, and he understands why we all suffer, right? He understands the Four Noble Truths, the Eightfold Path. And then he spent 45 years, teaching. And at 80, he died, right? This statue is what's called the emaciated Buddha. And when he first left and he was roaming, this is India, 500 years before Christ, 2,500 years ago, they would do lots of crazy practices, ascetic practices. They would stand on their leg for like 3 months at a time. They would hang from a tree for like 3 months at a time. It's said that they ate 1 grain of rice a day, right? And that he was so skinny, you could literally take your fingers front to back and that they would touch. He was near death. Came to a riverbed. He was with his 5 other buddies, and someone offered him food. And they were all telling him, no, we can't eat. He said, well, again, I'm paraphrasing all of this from many different stories. And he basically said, I'm hungry, right? And he said, well, I'm going to put this bowl in the river, and if it goes against the stream, I'm going to eat. So he put the bowl, goes against the stream, he decides to eat. Those 5 guys left him, right? He regained his strength, physical strength. They thought that at that time, if they overcame attachment to physical form, that would be the key to ending suffering. What he realized at that moment in time is what's called the middle path, a very core teaching in Buddhism for all people, but I think especially for lay people, that we don't need to live in excess, right? We don't need 30 shirts. 5 are probably fine. We don't need 20 pairs of shoes. 5 are probably fine, or whatever it is. But we also don't need to have 0 shirts and 0 shoes. And that number can be different for everybody. We don't need to spend X amount of dollars on a meal when we could probably spend X minus whatever, right? But we don't. So a balance in finding that in your life is important, right? The Buddha taught that we suffer because of craving and desire. We crave and desire so much. So if we craved a little less, desired a little less, found a little more peace in just the simple things, and found a balance that is different for all of us, maybe we'd be a little happier, right? So this introduces the middle path, right? So he eats, those guys leave him. They were the first 5 guys who eventually came back and realized, hey, there's Siddhartha Gautama. He looks like he's figured something out. We will call him the Buddha. We call him the awakened one. And there's a tapestry up there above the exit sign where he's giving what's called the first turning of the Dharma wheel. And those 5 disciples were the 5 guys who left him. And they became the first 5 disciples. So why do we have this statue? When we opened the Dharma Bum Temple 12 years ago, we bought this, ironically enough, the Buddha for You before we became Buddha for You. And it embodied who we were. We were lay people, right? The kind of core of us that started this crazy little thing. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually near death. At any moment in time. And so to us, we were also accustomed to going into a Buddhist temple and seeing these beautiful images of the Buddha. That doesn't look pretty, right? Sometimes scares children, right? Or people say, who's the dude who needs a sandwich? People don't know who this is. And that's us. Physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually near death at many points in our lives. And so in order to become, this beautiful, peaceful being that we're trying to be, we have to wake up to where we are. And that's where we are. So when we started the Dharma Bums, it made more sense to sit with that as our main Buddha because we could relate to that. And if he, in one life, that he was near death, could figure out how to end his suffering, that was inspiring, motivating, encouraging. That we could get there also. So that is the emaciated Buddha.
Fascinating.
Very interesting. You're welcome. Yeah. So, yeah. Does that help?
Very much. Yes.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah. I mean, I've never seen that representation of Buddha ever, so it's really interesting to
Yes.
hear about it, and it does really resonate. I think.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Very rarely, if ever, will you see it as a main shrine Buddha. Very rarely, if ever, do you even see the statue. You know, but yeah, we're very lucky to have it. Very much so. So, anything else before we close? Those were church bells telling us time's up. Yeah. All right. So we'll join palms. It is proper if you'd like to join palms when we close. Yeah. If you'd like, you know. When I was taught, my master used to say that you have two hands. You bring one, which is in the future, one is in the past, and you bring them together to the present moment. And this is where we abide. This is where we sit always. So every time I join palms, it's just a reminder to me to really find a deep appreciation for just being alive and being present. So if you'd like to, we join palms. May the benefit of this practice be shared with all beings in all directions. May all beings be at peace. May all be free from suffering. May any merit gained from this practice be transferred to Tom's mother, Carol, during her time, and to Tom and Dharma and Orion and their family who suffer at this time. May they all be at peace. May we all be at peace and free from suffering. So a few quick announcements before you all head out. Thank you all for being here. My name is Jeff. I'm a Dharma bum. We opened up this temple 12 years ago to be a bridge to introduce Buddhist practice to local folks. A bridge to nowhere. We're everywhere. You might look at it. We do classes just about every night. Different schools of Buddhism. We're not a specific lineage. We introduce all the kind of core schools of Buddhism here. Every Thursday, 5 o'clock, we do, I think, the best thing around. We do a food redistribution program. We prepare gourmet vegetarian meals, peanut butter, jelly, and bread. And we put them all together and we feed people who sleep on a sidewalk every night. So anytime you think your life kind of sucks and you lack gratitude for what you have, feed people who put their head on a sidewalk and tends to put things into perspective a little bit. If it doesn't work, go back. Yeah. This is the end of the year, apparently. 12 years ago, we started downtown. We always had our New Year's gatherings. So this will be our 13th annual Dharma Bum Temple New Year's celebration. We begin at 7 o'clock with a potluck. 9 o'clock, I do a history of the Dharma Bum Temple. At about 11:30 or so, we come up here and we'll sit for about 20, 25 minutes and enter the new year in silence. You're not silent all night, just the last 20 minutes. If you've never done a silent and sober New Year's, this is your opportunity to get both of those out of the way. That's always been on your bucket list. I promise you'll survive. It's really kind of cool to bring the new year in silence. Downtown, we were out just 2 blocks outside the gas lamp, so we always heard the explosions here. I had no idea the first year what it was going to be like at midnight. There's usually somebody loud and crazy screaming at midnight, so it lets us know midnight has occurred. But some people come early, some people come late, some people stay the whole evening, so you're all welcome. Out of the ordinary, I think that's it. Temple's here, it's open always for you. So just come sit. I feel like there's something else going on that I'm forgetting to announce, but that's all right. Thanks all for another wonderful year in this place. Dharma Bum Life program, I mentioned it briefly, but it's a 10-week program. We meet Mondays and Thursdays from 7 to 9. It'll be a group of about 15 to 20 people, and that's kind of your intimate little sangha for 10 weeks. It's a beautiful program. Like I said, we've been running it collectively for about 9 years now, 8, 9 years. And it's an excellent opportunity to practice a little more intimately in a smaller setting and engage a little more intimately with a smaller group of people and a few leaders. Myself, Ken, Travis, we lead the program. So stuff's on the website. Just go to the website and look under programs. You'll see Dharma Above Life. So if you're interested in that, it'll start February 18th, I believe it starts. So it's a grueling interview and application process. I hope you get through it. Thanks all for being here. Good luck.
Posting is on. I'm sure everyone has had my.